So I was actually just thinking about this YouTube algorithm situation here and thinking of ways to ultimately improve and grow a YouTube channel, whether it be mine, one of mine, as I have many, or anybody else's, perhaps maybe yours if you're watching this video. And also thinking about other YouTube channels that I see, in essence, doing the same thing as other YouTube channels, but not getting the same results. So, in most instances, if you were to put in the same energy, the same effort, the same inputs, then theoretically the outputs should be the same. If you're going to invest money, or maybe better yet, save money in a high yield savings account, if you were to put in $100 into a high yield savings account and I were to put in $100 into a high yield savings account, we're going to see the same return on investment or annual percentage yield and interest because of that. If theoretically, you and I were to eat the same diet and engage in the same activities, and we would probably see the same results and changes in our bodies as a result of that. And there are countless other examples that I could provide and share of what goes in, what comes out, and it's pretty normal, pretty standard. But the algorithm is different. YouTube is different. And the algorithm is the great equalizer, because in real life, you can't say, well, if you do this, then you'll have these friends. Or if you do this, then these people will like you. Because there's no guarantee. And I think that the algorithm is the new popularity contest of ultimately deciding how many friends you have. And those friends are followers, viewers, subscribers, whatever. Now, YouTube is rolling out the new ABC thumbnail testing. Some channels already have it, and a lot of other channels don't. I do not have it yet. None of the channels that I'm associated with have it yet, but I do know that some claim to have it, and I think that they really do, but there's really also no way to tell. But does that mean that when you do get it, that you should use it? Because you can make a thumbnail, and this is just a thumbnail because it doesn't change the title, it doesn't change the intro of your video, it doesn't change anything else besides just the thumbnail, to theoretically make your video perform the best. And this is a key, because perform the best doesn't mean that it's going to get the most views. It doesn't mean anything really besides that thumbnail was associated with the highest amount of retention. Although anybody who knows that retention isn't the end all be all to a viral video. Retention and comment and engagement and all these metrics, these strategies, these best practices that the gurus, the YouTube insider, creator insider folks would want you to believe, I don't believe it to be true. I believe that YouTube picks and chooses who gets what when they get it, and that's pretty much all there's going to be. There are ways that you can kind of, sneak your way in there, but for the most part, if you've ever seen the movie Free Guy, I think that YouTube's algorithm is built with an underlying hidden Easter egg, theoretically, a specific type that gets pushed, it gets promoted, no matter what. Always will, always have been. But when I talk about this new YouTube ABC thumbnail testing that they're offering, that they're going to roll out, I then think about my own content. And my own content, in theory, you would want the highest click-through rate possible, which would prove that the thumbnail or title, or both, were the best, that produced the greatest return on that video. But that's not the case, because I've got many videos that have outperformed other videos with higher click-through rates. So click-through rate doesn't matter, and retention doesn't matter. So does the thumbnail really matter? Like, why is YouTube purposely introducing a metric, a tool that further complicates and confuses the creator, which, if you are a creator, then you know that a thumbnail could possibly be the hardest part of content creation and delivering and packaging this video for the world to see as you sit and debate on a thumbnail. Now you have to do it with 3. You don't have to. You can choose to do it with 2, or you can just do 1. You don't have to use the tool at all. But now they're like over complicating a process that should be relatively simple. Not to mention, there's no standard protocol for how a thumbnail works. For instance, if you've ever seen Sam Sulek, then in theory, he's doing everything wrong when it comes to thumbnails, and titles, and videos in general, but it's all, speculative. To each their own. I'm not knocking his content, but what I'm saying is that, in essence, he's doing everything that you shouldn't do, and it's proving to be very right. It's proving to be successful. Okay? Now, I'm not going to just use one instance. I'm going to use another. Because I have another channel. I have multiple channels, but I have another channel that is currently growing pretty good, naturally, organically, which is the best way. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about paid promotions and advertising for your content. I think it's a terrible idea. But this other channel that I have, is nothing like this channel. And the audience is growing in a different direction. And the videos are taking off, okay? The channel's got 500 and something subscribers, and the videos are taking off. The videos that are taking off have a click-through rate of around 1% to 3.7%. They have a click-through rate which would be considered to be very, very poor in the eyes of those saying, who would teach you how to do this better, how to grow a channel, how to make money on YouTube. But here's the thing. The only thing that really matters, honestly, and it has nothing to do with your thumbnail, it has nothing to do with your click-through rate, it has nothing to do with YouTube's new ABC thumbnail testing, it has nothing to do with what the gurus say you should and shouldn't do, it has nothing to do with making your thumbnail look like somebody else's, it has nothing to do with what time of day you upload your video, it has nothing to do with anything except the one major factor. Imagine you had a click-through rate of 100%. No one has ever had a click-through rate of 100%. And that would mean that for everybody who saw your video, they clicked on it. 100%. That would be ideal. That would be epic. That would be great. But it would also be extremely useless without the most important factor being impressions. So this is where I have the biggest conundrum, I guess, the inner debate that I continuously have with myself and others about what's right, what's good, what's working, what should we do, how do we improve, how do we do better. Because whether you have a high click-through rate, whether you have a low click-through rate, whether you're performing and your channel is performing similar to Sam Sulek or others in that realm, none of it matters if YouTube doesn't deploy your video into the meta that would allow the world to choose to click and see it. If you had a 1% click-through rate and 1,000 impressions, it would be the same as if you had a 10% click-through rate and 100 impressions, you know, or a 100% click-through rate and 1 impression. I think that's right. Something like that. You guys know what I'm talking about. So with that, I've come to the conclusion, at least for now, that none of it really matters. And we almost have to look at the algorithm as if it doesn't matter, because it doesn't. It doesn't matter for you in comparison to somebody else, and it doesn't matter to them in comparison to you. And all that really matters is if and when YouTube will ever push your video out there to be seen. Now, there are alternatives. You yourself could entice and create inbound traffic to your video, sharing it on other social media platforms and emails and different things like that. Granted, some folks have had issues with invalid traffic because of certain things like that, but if ad revenue is not your only driving factor, then invalid traffic won't matter to you. But in regard to visibility and impressions, and that's an alternative that you could consider. But that's just, I don't know, I just thought about it today that way, and it's like, it doesn't matter. I've got videos on a channel with 500 something subscribers getting more views than videos on a channel with 86,000 subscribers, and the channel with 500-ish subscribers has a low single digit click-through rate, and thumbnails that I'm spending 60 seconds or less to create, in comparison to thumbnails that I'm using Canva and Photoshop and generative AI and Midjourney and all sorts of things to create in hours. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Knowing good and well that if I were to put up a certain type of video, no matter what the thumbnail was, it would be effective. It would work. It would go far. It would get views. It would probably get the channel deleted. But if you know, you know. There are pockets. There are little glitches, and there are little loose ends in the algorithm that you can exploit. But when you see some of these channels and they say this is my 3rd channel or my 4th channel, or YouTube deleted or whatever, there's reason for it. Okay, and I think Veritasium explained it pretty well, and he's basically, you want to push the limit as far as you can before it's not real, before you've breached the realm, the limits of reality, right? But the same rules apply with content. And if you want the secret to viral content, to an unbelievable growth but possibly getting deleted, push the limits of your content to the point of which YouTube would want to delete it. Simple as that. But the risk with that is that YouTube would delete it. Not just the video, but the channel altogether. So is that really worth it? It depends on what your goals are. Depends on what your ultimate, what the end result you're trying to accomplish and achieve is. But yeah. Thumbnails and click-through rates just don't matter anymore now, do they?